what should people know about Beth, and how does her story play out throughout the Queen's Gambit?
Oh, Beth. I love her so much. It's such a, like, I had such an intense romantic relationship with this character. Like, I fell in love with her completely. What should you know about Beth? You should know that Beth is somebody who does not find interactions with human beings particularly easy or enjoyable, whilst she desperately seeks them. And in seeking a world in which she can understand something a little bit more, chess takes that position very firmly. And she finds a lot of security in that. She's a badass, but she definitely has her flaws as well.
Definitely. And, you know, chess does play a big part in her story. What can you say about where she first meets the game or learns about the game, and how that plays a role in her story?
Her first encounter with chess is both wonderful and illuminating for her, but also extremely problematic when it comes to her relationship with substance abuse, because she discovers chess at the same time that she starts being given tranquilizers. And I think the relationship between understanding whether or not she's brilliant by herself or whether she needs this substance in order to open the veil into this world definitely sends her on a difficult course.
This show is inspired or based on the novel by Walter Turvis. Were you familiar with the story beforehand, or did you go back and end up reading the book to get a little bit more insight?
The book was the first thing I ever read. There was no script when I signed on. I signed on to the book alone, and I am an avid reader. I love books, always have, always will. And this book is now firmly one of my favorites. Like, it's a bit weird now that I'm in the show, because I feel a bit strange giving it away as Christmas presents, but like, if I can get over that level of like slight mortification, I would give this book as a Christmas present to absolutely everybody I know. Because I just think it's brilliant, and the way that it dissects genius and self-destructiveness and loneliness and human beings in general is just fabulous.
Her first love is chess in the show, Beth, but she also loves fashion. Is there room for any other kind of love, or is that something that she'll struggle with in the show?
I think other people struggle with it a lot more than she does. Like, one of the most beautiful things about Beth is she's so distanced from society and society's expectation of her that she is genuinely baffled that people speak about her gender more than they speak about how, or especially at the beginning, how excellent she is at the game. And that level of bewilderment is so wonderful to bring into it, because it shows you how ridiculous it is that people would even question, like, oh, you can't be glamorous and a chess player. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, this is just my expression. And I loved that was something that Scott and I like made a thing, along with our wonderful costume designer, Gabrielle, because we sort of wanted to show you a really complex human being and saying, look, just because she's a brain doesn't mean, like, if she wants to wear sweatpants, sure, fine, but she also happens to love fashion at the same time. And you can't categorize people in a way that makes you feel comfortable. You have to be accepting of all of their intricacies.
This show is a largely feminist tale, but how would you say it differs from maybe the conventional feminist story? Because she isn't this ideal person. She is imperfect. She is like working on herself. So I guess what could you say about how it's changing maybe the conventional view on a feminist story?
What's beautiful about what you just said is the separation between she's not a perfect person, she's working on herself. And it's like, yes, we are all human beings desperately working on ourselves. If you're not growing, you're not alive anymore. Like, you're supposed to confront your flaws and grow from them. So I mean, the thing that I loved the most was that, again, because Beth has this separate view of society, this is not like, it is of course about a woman who is brilliant at chess and that rises to the top of a male dominated field. But like, pretty much every field is male dominated. So it's more about a really brilliant person who struggles with herself and overcomes that internal struggle. Like that's really what it's about. And I think we're working hopefully towards a society where your gender doesn't define what your dreams are allowed to be. And I think Beth is a really beautiful representation of that, because yes, she's a female underdog, but she's also an underdog, period.